If you follow perfume trends, you definitely have heard about Delina. There's so much hype about this perfume right now that not even so many people actually know that it's coming from a Parisian perfume house called Parfums de Marly. I decided to know more of their fragrances and I've purchased their feminine discovery set. Nowadays, most niche perfumers have unisex fragrances, but this is not the case for Parfums de Marly. They still have feminine fragrances and male fragrances. And here we have a feminine set, which includes Delina and a new edition called Delina La Rosée. I think many people get disappointed by Delina because they have very high expectations that are a product of this hype. And when they try it, they're like, that's not an extraordinary perfume. Yes, it is feminine, yes, it is nice, but don't have high expectations. I will get back to Delina a bit later. First, I would like to speak about some other fragrances in the set. The name of the brand was actually inspired by Chateau de Marly, and that was a place of flamboyant parties of the 18th century. And the creator wants to keep that French tradition, but at the same time to have a certain modern touch. And I think that creates the fragrances that are very different in their style. On one side, we have some perfumes that have something old about them, but on the other side, you have fragrances that are very bright and modern. And the first one I have in here is called Oriana. The immediate impression of this one is sweet, super sweet. According to the pyramid, you have a lot of citruses on the top, but immediately you get the sweetness of orange blossom, raspberries, whipped cream and marshmallows. Can you imagine how it smells all together? This mix actually gives you a bubblegum. Maybe the sweetness of Oriana was supposed to be inspired by Marie Antoinette, who loved lavish dresses, beautiful cupcakes and sweets. But I personally think of a story of a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, or a girl of the 90s who liked a lot of glitter, diamonds on her nails, this kind of story. I personally don't get the feeling that this is a niche kind of fragrance. If I had blind testing, I would say that this is a celebrity perfume because it has a lot of sweetness and pop star girliness. And there's not much of a development here. It smells like a bubblegum throughout. Another one that has a bubblegum note is called Cassili. This one I think is also very popular among Parfums de Marly. It's a little bit different kind of sweetness. You have frangipani and vanilla running the show in here. You also have peaches and tropical notes, but still it's very sweet, girly and young. I know a lot of people don't like when I operate with age categories speaking about perfumes, but this is my own perception and I associate certain smells with certain age groups. For example, this one is called Athalia. I really think of a woman that is older, maybe in her 50s, 60s, but she's not using her vintage fragrances. Instead, she goes for something modern. And I think this is a kind of fragrance she would choose. It is very powdery, a little bit earthy, but somehow I still get some maturity in here, probably coming from its amber base. And I do not say that amber is meant for older women, but there is something about the combination in this particular perfume. The second one I also think is good for more mature ladies is called Safanad. I'm gonna try it with you one more time. This is another amber fragrance that is made for the lovers of orange blossom. I think the olfactive pyramid for this one is really well done. You really feel well the oranges, yellow flowers, sandalwood and vanilla, very light powdery touch from iris. But the core of this fragrance is orange blossom and amber, and I think this would create a generational division. Some younger girls will tell you that this is a perfume for grandmothers, and some mature ladies would really appreciate it because this is a kind of combination that was really popular in the previous decades. My personal favorite in the set is called Meliora, and this one reminds me a bit of early 2000s. If you're a lover of the Gucci Flora series, this is a kind of perfume you're gonna like. At the same time, I'm not sure you would want to pay much more because this goes for 230 euros per bottle, and this is not a joke. The first thing that comes into my mind is very fresh water. It's like a water source coming from the ground. This freshness is complemented with lemon. It's like drinking iced water with lemon. And there is something sweet, and this sweetness is kind of unique. It's coming from fruits that have acidity and sweetness at the same time. I'm thinking of a queen's jam, the one that is like jello. This mix of citruses, sweetness, and freshness is already a wonderful mix. And now add some white flowers into this. Think of jasmine, lilies, but take their intensity down a notch. Add some Italia. Italia is actually a synthetic note that reminds you of lilies, roses, and has a fruity undertone. And the base is only complementing all this tenderness. You have white woods that are very delicate and vanilla that is surrounding all these notes like a wonderful veil. My perception is totally different from Fragrantica. In fact, they made a mistake. The official description of Meliora on their website includes red berries, raspberries, lemon essence that is very present in here, also jasmine tea that you can recognize. Rose is not very standoffish in here, and you have cedarwood musk and vanilla. Black and red currant and lily of the valley were listed by mistake. And it's actually great that none of the notes stands out because this floral fruity mist is very thin and mysterious. And the acidity and sweetness, they kind of balance each other out. And that's what I like about this perfume. And the star of the brand is, of course, Delena. Delena is also very nicely balanced, and the acidity here is coming from lychee and rhubarb, which is a very lovely combination, complementing very well peonies in the middle. When it comes to fragrances where you have peonies and roses at the same time, I tend to like those that have peonies brighter than roses, and this is the case for Delena. But those who love roses more than peonies, they have another version of this fragrance called Delina La Rosée, and this one is on the rosy side. If you compare the olfactive pyramids of the two, you will notice few little nuances. But in fact, you can still say that this is a kind of flanker with the same DNA. The combination of lychee and peonies made me think of another fragrance that is done by the same creator, Quentin Biche. This is a very famous parfumeur who is considered one of the most talented of the modern times. These fragrances are very feminine. I personally prefer Fleur Narcotique because to me it smells like a flower that doesn't exist, and that's the magnificent part about it. Delena, on the other side, has peonies that are much more recognizable. And as a fan of peonies, I can say that this is a wonderful perfume as well. The two perfumes are actually very different, but I think they have a very similar style. They are both very bright and they are made for modern women who want to impress. And I think if you love one, you will have a chance to like the other. The thing about this fragrance is that they are both very strong, and I cannot wear them close to my nose. I prefer to wear them on the back of my neck to have a wonderful sillage when I walk around. Also, there is another Delena called Exclusive, which came out relatively recently. Maybe I will eventually make a video dedicated to Delena where I compare the three. But right now I'll be just summing up my impressions about Parfums de Marly, the Feminine Discovery Set. If I was testing these fragrances blindly, I would never guess that they cost 230 euros per bottle. They do smell nice, they do last very long, but many people notice that they are a bit synthetic and cloying. And I really agree with that, because after wearing it for a few hours, I realized that some of these perfumes give me a headache. And I really recommend you wearing it on your skin before making a decision to purchase a bottle.